everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a new video in which I will be talking about the 18 knitting patterns that I would love to knit if I had suddenly 4 extra pair of hands or there were 100 hours in a day. And you can come up with plenty of scenarios that basically if you had the unlimited time in the world, then these are all of the spring patterns that I'm dying to make, honestly. And I did receive a comment on my most recent video that some people really like to see when I knit other people their designs as well, just to see what my picks are. So that's also why I love doing these videos besides sharing the patterns that I knit for my own knitwear designs. So I am probably going to knit 2 or 3 patterns out of this video and I've already cast on one. So I will let you guess in the comments which one do you think that I cast on already. Please let me know what you think. Besides YouTube, you can also find me on Instagram at @maybe_the_label. I also want to quickly mention what I'm wearing in case I get a question about it. But this is the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers that I knit in Vilcolana Peruvian Highland wool in a lilac color. Don't know the color name or color number, but I think there aren't a lot of lilacs in their color range, so it should be pretty easy to find. So those were all of the little things that I wanted to mention before starting the video. So let's just get started with a couple of cardigan patterns that I've picked out. So the first cardigan pattern is called the Iris Bloom cardigan. This is by a knitwear designer that is new to me. Her name is Malin Borgersen, or also known as Minegleder. And she recently started following me on Instagram, so I gave her a follow back, of course, because she had some really beautiful designs and this cardigan just really spoke out to me. This is, I think, a saddle shoulder cardigan where it's constructed starting from the back. So you have a lace section in the back that continues all over the back and then goes to the sleeves, which I just think is a very beautiful design. I've never knit anything with that type of construction, so it would be really fun to try something new. The cardigan itself is knit with an Aran weight yarn on 5.5mm needles. Then it comes in 5 sizes, which will give you a finished bust circumference of 90 to 131 centimeters. And it has a suggested positive ease of 10 to 20 centimeters. And if you want to go all out, I'm pretty sure that she has a matching headband for this pattern as well. So that is really fun. Then the next pattern that I've chosen is one that is very high up my list. Recently there was also a sweater version of the pattern released, so you just have to check out this knitwear designer as well. But her name is Celine Feyton and this is the Fouette cardigan. Pretty sure I've mentioned it somewhere before on this channel, but I'm just in awe with this design. This is, I think, also a saddle shoulder construction. I'm pretty sure it is started with the cables that are on top of the shoulder and then they continue out through the sleeves, which is a very beautiful design. Then it has these diamond cables with lace in the center on the front and also in the back. Then it also has waist shaping in the back, which I just think looks very beautiful. It of course will give the cardigan a really nice shape and hug your body very nicely. But I think it's also just a very nice design element that the stockinette part of the back is flowing towards the center. And this is just a cardigan pattern where you can see that there was so much attention to detail and just very thought out design. And I just really appreciate a design like that. So this is knit with a DK weight yarn on a 4.5mm needle. And then it comes in a finished bust circumference of 97 to 187 centimeters. So it's a very inclusive design as well. This is with a suggested positive ease of 22.5 centimeter. I'm not sure yet what color I would like to make it. Probably something neutral because I just think it could be a very nice elevated basic. I've spoken before about that when I knit a basic stockinette garment. I don't really like to wear those, even if it's like a basic color, for example a brown or a white. I then personally like to have cables or lace and then in a neutral color, and I think those are really wearable for me. I just like to have a little bit of something extra in my knitwear. And then the final cardigan pattern that I've chosen is a free pattern by Drops Design. This one is called the Lemon Fizz cardigan and I was just really drawn to the little bow that it has in the front. I think it's a very cute detail. This also seems like a little bit more of a beginner friendly pattern and just a quick knit in general, which I think a lot of people will appreciate. So this is also knit with 7mm needles with a super bulky yarn. So I think it has the Drops Kid Silk held with the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk and the Drops Melody. So I think you're doing it with, 3 strands of yarn. It does also come in a range of sizes ranging from a small to a 3XL, but they don't really provide the measurements other than a little schematic. So if you want to know the exact measurements, then I do have all of the patterns linked in the description. But this is just a beautiful pattern, very simple to knit. If you want something that is a little bit more of a mindless knit, then this one is definitely for you. Next up we have all of the sweater patterns. There are a little bit more sweaters than cardigans because I feel like cardigans are always more difficult to come by. So the first sweater that I've chosen is the jean sweater by Kolibri Designs. This is also a pretty relative new to me knitwear designer. She has a pretty huge following on social media, but I have not really knit any of her patterns yet. So this is a beautiful sweater that combines lace with garter stitch, and for some reason I have been a little bit of a garter stitch phase, and garter stitch is really drawing to me, but when it's combined with other textures I just think it's really nice. So this pattern of course is very appealing to me at the moment. This is knit with a DK weight yarn on 4mm needles. And the finished bust circumference of this sweater is 93 to 138 centimeters with a suggested positive ease of 12 centimeters. And I've also seen some very fun adjustments from people on Ravelry. So instead of knitting the ripped cuff, they instead skipped that and then just let the sleeves flare out, which I thought was a very nice detail. And I think it could also be very nice if you went and did that on the bottom hem of the sweater as well. And I also think it's just fun that this is a very colorful sweater as well. So it's striped, and this also gives you a lot of opportunity to just use some scraps or other leftovers of yarn that you may have. The next sweater pattern is a little bit similar to me in that way that it combines lace with some garter stitch. So this is the Lace Loop sweater by Other Loops, and this is knit with a worsted weight yarn on 4mm needles. The finished bust circumference of this sweater is a 115 cm to a 145 cm. This sweater also has a beautiful drop shoulder construction and very nice oversized fit. And I think if you were to combine this with some super like spring-like colors, like for example like a pastel as the contrasting color and then a white or a cream as the main color, I think it would look really cute and summery or spring-like. And I would actually love to knit this sweater. I also feel like it's reasonably mindless. I'm now seeing from a little bit more close up that the sweater or like the stripes in the sweater are not garter stitch, but they kind of have that look to it for some reason. And if you wanted to do it garter stitch, I think that could be an easy modification. The next sweater pattern is a little bit more of a basic sweater, but with some really nice finishing. So it's the Syrah sweater by Tricot MCL design. This is knit with a fingering weight yarn on 4mm needles. And it has a finished bust circumference of 91 cm to 164 cm. Now the thing that of course drew me to this sweater is the beautiful cuff detail that it has. It has some kind of pleat on the cuff, and I just think that's a very beautiful and elegant detail. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Cézanne, for example. The sweater that she knit, like her sample, is a burgundy color, so it's a little bit more fall winter looking. But imagine again knitting it in like the color of my little vest. That would be so cute for the spring and summer. I also think if you paired it with a mohair, it would especially give off Cézanne vibes. So it could be a nice dupe pattern. Then the next pattern is actually a free pattern. This is designed for a yarn brand that I can't pronounce. And it's designed by Maria Magnusson. And the sweater is called the Arezzo sweater. And what I love about this sweater in particular is that it's a little bit more fitted. I feel like a lot of the sweaters that you see nowadays are usually oversized or drop shoulder constructions, but this one has a nice and fitted shoulder. I think it has some kind of short row shaping, or maybe I think it's a contiguous sleeve actually, now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer. But it has a beautiful lace panel that then goes down all the way on the sleeve. Then it also has a long ripped cuff, which I think is a very nice detail. And it also cinches in as a balloon sleeve. Then it has a folded neckband with a picot edge, which I always appreciate, and it's definitely something that I like to add to my designs as well. And then the hem or the ribbing of the hem is also a little bit more fitted. And I just think this is a very elegant sweater to wear. And also if you wear this with a skirt, I think it's going to look proportionately very nice and very beautiful and elegant. And not like wearing a skirt with a oversized sweater, which I personally do love to do. But sometimes you just want something more fitted or more, yeah, I don't know, just something more fitted. I just think wearing something fitted immediately just looks a little bit more classy and elegant than wearing something oversized, even though that can also look very classy. But I think you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I would love to eventually knit this pattern. I think it's very cool also that it's a free pattern. So definitely also check out all of the yarn brands at this time of year when they are all releasing their new patterns, because I came across a lot of nice patterns that were for free by yarn brands. The next pattern I have chosen is actually a circular yoke design, which I don't come across a lot of circular yoke designs that I actually like, but this one is a good one. It was actually also released just this last month in February, so it's a very new design. This is called the Sternblute sweater, and it's by a knitwear designer that I've spoken about before. But I don't know how to pronounce her name, sadly. But if you do know, please let me know. This is knit with a DK weight yarn on 4mm needles. It comes in 7 sizes with a finished bust circumference of 84 to 138 centimeters with a suggested positive ease of 3 or 15 centimeters. I just think the lace on the circular yoke is very unique and something that I haven't really seen before. I guess that's also why it's called the Sternblute. I think it maybe means something with a star, because it has some like pointed shapes, and I just think it's very cool and just very different and unusual. Then this is such a coincidence, but the next sweater pattern that I've chosen is the Star Jasmine Pullover. This is a pattern by Life is Cozy. Absolutely love. She has such beautiful patterns, and this is just another one of her beautiful patterns. This is knit with a DK weight yarn on 4mm needles. And this sweater comes in lots of different sizes. Like, I have not seen this many sizes in a long time. But this one has a finished chest circumference of 86 to 163 centimeters. So it's a very size inclusive pattern. This is a oversized raglan shaped sweater, but then the party is at the sleeve. It has some beautiful like star shaped pattern with some bubbles at the top, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Definitely, as soon as I saw this, I added it to my Ravelry because I think eventually I would love to knit this one day. And I am kind of bummed that she chose to knit her sample in a yellow color because I really despise yellow, so it's very hard for me to look at it and still think this is beautiful because the color is kind of taking away the beauty of the construction of the sweater. I still think it's beautiful. So I'm trying to look further than the color, which is a hard thing to do, which I get now why knitwear designers always knit with like grey or white or creams, because the yellow is intense. Those were all of the sweater patterns, and now I have a little bit more of a transitional pieces category, so a bunch of slipovers and t-shirts. The first one is a free pattern. It's called the Toscane t-shirt by Bergman, and this is again designed for that yarn brand that I can't pronounce, but I think it's from somewhere in Scandinavia. So the pattern is knit with an Aran weight yarn on 5mm needles. So this is a really cute stockinette raglan t-shirt, but then it has a really beautiful scalloped edge on the hem of the t-shirt, which I think is a very nice detail. Then it does come in a range of sizes, ranging from an extra small to a 4XL. Sadly, I cannot see the finished measurements here, but it's a free pattern, so you can always just download it and see what it's like, because you don't have anything to lose. Then the next pattern is also by Yarn Brand, so this one is actually designed for Rowan. It's designed by Quail Studio, which I thought was maybe a knitwear designer or like an actual person, but it's actually a publishing studio or company, so I'm not sure. The patterns from this launch or collection also have quite strange names. So it's called MIP 53 Saffi, but it's a very unique all over lace t-shirt with a beautiful neckline that is a little bit deeper. Then I think it also has some buttons. It almost looks like you could add buttons, at least. It doesn't, but I think it could be really cute if you added like those little tiny loops and then you could do some little buttons at the top. That's kind of what I thought it had going on, but I think if you added that, that would be very cute. Then it has also a folded picot edge on the hems of the sleeves and also around the neckline. And I just think this is a gorgeous pattern and definitely something that I would love to knit during the spring-summer season. This is knit with a worsted weight yarn on 4mm needles for a finished chest circumference of 85 cm to 165 cm. Then the next pattern is a Colourwork Slipover pattern. This is designed for a hobby, but it's designed by Sylvia Watts Cherry. And I just think this is the ultimate little spring slipover design because it has some kind of floral colorwork going on, and I think it's very nice and definitely something that I haven't seen before. This is also knit with Hobby their own yarn, which is Garland, which kind of has some more white tones to it. So it also just gives the slipover a little bit more of a unique look, I feel like. It's a worsted weight yarn, so the slipover is knit with 4mm needles. Then it comes in 9 sizes, ranging from a finished chest circumference of 87.5 cm to 167.5 cm. But it's intended to be worn with around 8.5 or 11.5 cm of positive ease. All of the patterns from the Hobby website are also free, so this is another free pattern, which is really great. Then I did find another new pattern by Hobby, which I just had to mention as well. This is the Belleview texture cardigan. This is designed by Regnie, I think is how you pronounce her name. Knit with a worsted weight yarn of 4mm needles. It's actually knit with the same yarn as I just mentioned, the Hobby Garland. This also comes in 10 sizes, which will give you a finished chest circumference of 86 cm to 174.5 cm, but it's designed to be worn with 8 or 13 cm of positive ease. And I just love that this one has some little short sleeves, which it's really difficult to come by cardigans with little short sleeves, but I think they could be very cute worn over, for example, strappy dresses in the summer and spring season. And then the texture of the cardigan is some type of slip stitch, which I think looks very interesting. Then for some reason, all of the next patterns are in a lavender color as well, but it's just a coincidence, I promise. The next pattern is called the Lavender Haze. This is a pattern that is designed for Phil Collana but it's designed by Popknit, which is also a very nice knitwear designer. And since this is a pattern by Vilcolana, it's also a free pattern and knit with their yarn. So this is knit with a finger weight yarn on 5mm needles, and I really love about this little slip over pattern that it has some garter stitch on the shoulder and then lace on the rest of the slip over. Again, here I am with the garter stitch combined with something else, but it's like I said, it's something that I'm currently drawn to, and this slip over is no different. It comes in a multitude of sizes. I cannot see the finished measurements right now, but it's an extra small to a 3XL. And I just think slipovers are perfect for the spring season because they're very nice to layer. For example, like I have done here today with a turtleneck or a blouse. It's very easy to wear basically all year round. Then since I came across Popknit, her name again, I decided to just look a little bit at what design she currently has. So I came across the Cherish slipover, which also comes with matching pants, which I don't think there's anything cooler than a matching set. And I think in the spring, especially just a nice pastel color like she has here, this lilac color, it's absolutely gorgeous. So the Cherish slipover is knit with a DK weight yarn on 5.5mm needles. It has a very beautiful oversized shape. Then it combines lace with garter stitch once again, but also some stockinette rows. So it's a little bit different than the previous one. Then it comes in a bunch of sizes ranging from a finished chest circumference of 80cm to 136cm. The pants are knit on exactly the same needle size and the same yarn weight, and they also come in a lot of sizes for a hip or waist measuring of 84cm to 129cm. And of course you don't have to make a matching set, but I do think it's very fun and definitely deserve the mention. Then the final two patterns that I've chosen for this video are both shawl patterns, because I think shawls are also something that are especially nice to wear during the spring. I feel like most people don't really think about knitting a shawl for spring, but I think they're very nice to layer just when it's still like a little bit of a cold in the air. Then you can just wear a lighter jacket with a little shawl on top in a spring-like color, and I think it's a very easy outfit. So the first shawl pattern I've chosen is again by the knitwear designer Life is Cozy. This one is called the Currant shawl. This one was released last month, so it's a pretty new one. And it has a bunch of bubbles, which if you know me, I love bubbles. And it combines it with some cables, which I thought was very cool. Most shawl patterns that I've seen from Life is Cozy also have some kind of pom-poms or tassel on the edges of the scarf, which I think is a very nice detail as well. So I would love to try out this shawl pattern from her. She has a lot of beautiful shawl patterns, like I said, so I think she's a very nice knitwear designer. And then the final pattern that I've chosen is once again a free pattern. So this one is called the Rosemary Scarf. This is by Allure Knits, and it's knit with a DK weight yarn on 3.5mm needles. And it's a free pattern for a tiny little neck scarf, which I think are such a cute little accessory in the spring and summer season. So this is not really necessarily something that you wear to just stay warm, but it's more so as a nice little finishing touch to your outfit, just like you wear the Sophie scarf, for example. It has a very cute lace stitch on the pattern as well. And this is definitely something that I would love to knit because it's probably a really quick knit and a great scrap buster as well. So those were all of the patterns that I wanted to mention for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please let me know which pattern of this video you would like to knit for your spring wardrobe, or if you would like me, wish you had like an extra pair of hands or 100 hours in a day, basically. For now, I wish you all a very nice day, happy knitting, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!